How to stop having drama and improve your relationship with your spouse. Number one, make them feel important, understood, and supported. I learned this one from the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. Forgot who wrote it, but it's like a top 50, maybe top 25 best-selling book of all time. So what we do most of the time when we are interacting with people, we think it's important to communicate everything about ourselves, right? We feel that the more they understand us and the more we're able to say and get out, the better of a relationship we're going to have with that person. But it's actually the opposite. And not a lot of people know this, and not a lot of people do this, especially in their relationships. So when you are able to let the other person just talk and you just listen, just put your hands in your lap, put your phone down, give them your full 100% undivided attention. What will happen is you will make them feel important, because it's obvious when you're not giving someone your full attention, and it's obvious when you are. When your spouse or anyone else notices that they have your full attention, it makes them feel special, makes them feel important. And part of making them feel understood is when they have your full and undivided attention, you are actively engaged in the conversation. So you're like, really? What? No way. I wouldn't have done that. Or that's crazy. I can't believe they said that. Whatever it is, you are actively engaged with them. You are not distracted by anything or anyone or by your phone. You're making them feel that in that moment of time, all that you care about is listening to what they have to say. It makes them feel valued as a person. Also, you want to support your spouse. So part of making them feel important and understood is supporting them. So if someone's doing something or they're thinking a certain way or they have things going on and they feel you don't support them, it's not going to make them feel important, and it's going to make them feel misunderstood. And it creates a disconnect in the relationship. It feels like there's a barrier and a wall between you and another person. So in order for there not to feel like there's a barrier or a wall between you and your spouse, you have to quit thinking it's so important to talk about yourself all the time and be self-centered, and make sure that the first thing you do is to make sure your spouse feels heard, listened to, understood, and valued. And once they feel that way, then you will notice that you have their strict, undivided attention. It's just a smart way of communicating. Number two, get on the same page with them. Be a team. This kind of ties into number one. In order to be a good team, both of y'all understand each other. You listen to each other. Each of you feels supported. You feel understood. And when two people are mentally on the same page, they're both operating on the same wavelength, and they think and react the same, and everything is flowing smoothly. You are a strong team, a very strong team. If you have that wall or boundary in between y'all, you're not going to be a strong team. Number three, communicate calmly, clearly, and without a lot of emotion. So this is a big one why a lot of relationships fail. It's because one or both of the parties involved in the relationship, number one, do not know how to be good listeners and just give people their undivided attention, but they get emotional while they're communicating. So it doesn't matter how right you think you are. If you are being emotional when you're talking to the other person, you are going to put them on edge. You're going to make them feel uncomfortable, and it's going to be very, very hard for them to calm down and relax and to be a good listener and to support you. So you have to make sure that when you are communicating with your spouse, whether it's super important or it's not that important, that you stay calm. You don't communicate with your spouse when you're upset. If it's something super important that upsets you, wait until you can chill out and be cool and be able to communicate in an objective and stoic. You don't want to be cold and lifeless like a robot, but you don't want to seem like a crazy person. And that's what happens. A lot of relationships fail. A lot of arguments get started, dishes start getting thrown. People start threatening to stab each other because one person's emotional and the other person gets emotional. And when two people are communicating with high emotion, there's no intelligence there. There's no logic. There's no rationale. There's just stupidity, right? Because when we get upset and emotional, we start thinking like animals and acting like animals instead of civilized, grown-up adults, adult human beings. And the only way to think and operate and communicate and interact with each other as civilized adult human beings is the emotion has to be off of the table. If y'all are emotional, it's best just to say, hey, let's pick this up at a later time. We're both emotional. We're not going to make any progress here because when you're emotional, you're not listening. All you're thinking about is how you feel and you're not listening. And it's the same with your spouse. When your spouse is emotional and you're trying to talk to them and you're trying to explain something, they're not going to hear you because they're emotional. Number 4, stay calm when they're upset, triggered, or mad. So what you don't want to do is when your spouse gets upset is tell them, calm down, relax, and get upset because they're upset. You have to stay calm. The only way to calm down an upset and emotional person is you have to set the tone or the frequency that you need the conversation to be on. So if somebody's losing their mind and flipping out, you need to remain calm, clear, and objective and level-headed to try to diffuse the situation as much as possible. Just because somebody else is upset does not mean it's a smart idea to get upset as well. It's actually stupid. If you get upset because somebody else is upset, it's a sign of that you're not as intelligent as you think you are. Highly intelligent people understand, oh, this person's upset. If I get upset, it's going to create a ticking time bomb and this whole situation's going to blow up. You definitely don't want that. What you want is when the other person is flipping out and losing their mind, you need to remain calm. Now, here's what's going to happen. I've had this happen a lot of times. Usually when people get upset, I get calmer. It pisses people off. And yes, it's part of what happens, but you have to just stay calm. When they notice you're not getting upset with them, they're going to get more upset. But what you have to do is continue to stay calm. And once they notice that you're not going to get upset, it makes them feel like they're crazy. And they're like, okay, I'm not being rational here. I'm acting like a jackass. I need to tone it down because this obviously isn't going my way. Number 5, keep your word and commitments to them. This is another big one. If you want your partner to feel disrespected, undervalued, misunderstood, or like you don't give a shit about them, then go ahead and break your word to them. Go ahead and don't keep your commitments. Whatever you say you're going to do, if it's something that's important to your spouse and you think it's stupid, if it's important to them and you said you're going to do it, or you said you're going to be there, or you said you're going to do this or that, you have to do it because you have to understand it's all about how you're making the other person feel. If you can keep the other person feeling happy and content and feeling valued and loved and understood and like you guys are a team, everybody's going to be happy. They're going to treat you better. They're going to react to you better. They're going to respond to you better. So that is a really, really shitty thing to do in a relationship anyways, is to not keep your commitments, not keep your word, do everything you're supposed to do. It's the adult thing to do. It's the mature thing to do. And it's the functional thing to do, right? It's dysfunctional, not to tell somebody you're going to do something, then you don't do it. It doesn't mean you're a liar. It just means that you give more of a shit about what you want to do and about your own feelings rather than how you're making other people feel. Life is about relationships and people, and you always need relationships with people throughout your life in order to get what you want and to have the quality of life you want. So you might as well not create disconnects and not create negative situations and negative energy by telling people you're going to do something, then you don't do it. Always keep your word. Always be there when you say you're going to be there. Do the things you say you're going to do, regardless of how you feel. If it's important to the other person and it's not completely asinine or ridiculous, then just do it. It's all about making sacrifices and compromises. Number 6, don't make their life harder through stress and drama. So this one's on you. Think about this. You've had a bad day at work and you're in a bad mood and you're emotional and upset. Your intelligence level is lower than it usually is. So because you're in a bad mood, you're going to come home and take it out on your spouse. Or you're going to have an attitude towards your spouse because you're in a bad mood. That's kind of an immature and selfish thing to do. Your spouse didn't do nothing to you, right? Well, let's say it's a situation where your spouse didn't do nothing to you. You're going to bring stress and drama and negativity into the relationship because you're not feeling great, right? Who does that? Children. Children do that. When children are upset, they make everybody's life miserable because they're not thinking on a multi-dimensional level when it comes to socializing and emotions. They're just thinking about what it is they want, what's upsetting them, and their feelings. That's what children do. But you're an adult. So since you're an adult, you do not want to behave that way in a relationship. If you're having a bad day, you tell your spouse, hey, I'm having kind of a bad day right now. I'm upset, emotional. I'm not in my right mind. I'm not feeling 100% right now. I'm going to call you back, or I'm going to talk to you in a little bit. Just give me a little bit of time to myself. I'm feeling a little edgy. I'm feeling like a snappy turtle, like I'm going to snap. And I just need some time to collect my thoughts, get my head straight, calm down, relax. And I don't want to create any negativity in our relationship unintentionally because you caught me at a bad time. I don't want to make my problems your problems. And number 7, always have future plans in work that are fluid. Don't play it by ear. A lot of relationships that fail, they don't have any future plans. Like they don't have anything laid out. They don't have any strategies. They don't have their future organized. They're just playing it by ear. What are we going to do next week? I don't know. What are we doing tomorrow? I don't know. Where's our relationship going? Oh, I don't know. So what you want to do is always have future plans together. So like as a couple, let's try to have this in order in 3 months. Let's try to do this in 2 months. In 1 year, let's try to be here. Let's try to get this house. Let's try to pay off our vehicles. Let's try to get rid of our debt. Let's try to start this business. Let's try to get the house remodeled by this date. Always have, as a team, of course, as a team where y'all both understand each other and you're on the same page, always have future plans in work that are fluid. And fluid means that just because you say it's 2 months, when that 2 months rolls around and it doesn't happen, don't get all upset and start acting stupid about it. What you do is you say, okay, it's been 2 months and we should have had this done by now. But this happened. This person passed away. I was off of work for a few weeks. So-and-so lost their job. Things have happened that have interrupted our plans. So let's go ahead and make adjustments. So it was going to be 2 months. Let's go ahead and push it out 30 days. Let's go ahead and push it out 60 days. But let's go ahead and stick to what we said we were going to do. And let's move forward as an intelligent team, an intelligent couple, and make things happen. Don't just try to play it by ear. Well, when are we going to do this thing? I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. When are we going to do this? I don't know. We'll figure it out. When are we going to buy this? I don't know. We'll figure it out. You can't have the I don't know, we'll figure it out mentality because it doesn't help you or your spouse keep your mind organized and have an idea of what's going on in your life. Your whole life and your future together is just up in the air. That's what teenagers do, right? Teenagers and college kids and high school kids and all that stuff. They're the ones who are uncertain about their future and they don't know what's going on. But you as an adult and trying to have a somewhat organized life and trying to plan things that need to happen in the future and how they need to happen and why they need to happen. You guys need to discuss that as a couple, as a team, and have that in order. These are 6 things that help me have a great relationship. And before I learned these things, my relationships were always dramatic and stressful and all over the place and immature and stupid. We were both acting dumb all the time, not acting like adults. So these things have really, really helped me. I am happier than I have ever been. And I'm not just saying that. I really, really am happier than I've ever been. And I credit all of it to these 7 things. 1, make them feel more important and understood and supported. Number 2, get on the same page with them. Be a team. Number 3, communicate calmly, clearly, and without a lot of emotion. Number 4, stay calm when they're upset, triggered, or mad. Number 5, keep your word and commitments to them. Number 6, don't make their life harder through stress and drama. Don't bring your problems home. Don't act stupid when you're upset. Number 7, always have future plans and work that are fluid. Don't play it by ear. If you and your spouse, right, it takes both of y'all, because you can't just do all 7 of these things by yourself and your spouse stays the same. It's just not going to work. Both of y'all have to be on the same page. So if you and your spouse work on these things together, right, let's say you feel like y'all are on the same page. Take a time out and say, hey, we need to talk. Let's have a same page talk. Here's the page I'm on. What page are you on? Be a good listener. Hear them out. Okay. And then you try to compromise. You try to organize things and try to get on the same page with them. When you have to communicate with them, stay calm. Don't have a lot of emotion. If they get upset, remain calm. Don't get triggered. Don't get upset. When y'all promise things to each other, keep your commitments and your word to each other, because at the end of the day, all you have is each other, right? Nobody loves you guys besides family. Nobody loves you guys as much as you love each other. Number 6, don't make their life harder through stress and drama, and that goes for your spouse as well. When your spouse is upset, tell your spouse it's not fair that when you're upset, you take it out on me. That's not fair. That's not how it's supposed to work. I don't do it to you. Don't do it to me. And number 7, always have future plans. When y'all are trying to organize and figure out what you guys are going to do over the next 5 to 10 years, you guys need to talk about it, get it figured out. But if it doesn't happen exactly the way you want, don't freak out. Just reorganize your plans, keep on pushing forward, and make it happen. I hope this has been helpful.